tonight on LFG.
All the damn work I put in with you.
LuFisto.
What can you do with this person who's new so they look good, you look good, and everybody's safe?
Might as well put him in a black leather jacket and a black hat.
Jeff Lippman.
It looked like she was too slow for school, but she came out playing the hot mean girl.
That looks really good. Wow.
Boil them, fry them, put them in a stew. Boil them, fry them, put them in a stew. Boil them, fry them, put them in a stew. This is LFG Season 2, Episode 11. And this week, the people with the fewer time at the PC or the fewer points will get matches. This means we're only having 3 matches this week. And my dear Jeff, how are you? How was your week? How was episode 11 for you? I think I saw you tweet that it was great, that you enjoyed it. Let me know why.
Yeah, I really did enjoy episode 11. I thought it was a lot of fun. The pace seems to be picking up, but they actually did what we've been begging them to do. Maybe a little bit late, or maybe it's just exactly the right time. But they showed us a little bit about the people. They had a little bit of vignettes about their lives and in other scenarios and other circumstances, and they made us know them, maybe to get them a little bit more endearing, or maybe a little less endearing, but they did that. But my week was weird. So, all right. So one, I'm having this app developed, and, the guy told me it would take a week. Now, I never thought it would take a week, but we're now in week 5, and now, he's got, all sorts of financial issues, which he's trying to make his problems my problems, which he's an independent contractor,
Isn't it the way it works all the time?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not holding him to a strict timeline, but he doesn't get paid unless he finishes. I mean, he's constructing an app, but it's not like, listen, if someone's going to construct my house and they only get it 30% done, I can hire another builder to finish it. I can't hire another builder to finish the app. I mean, I'd have to start over with someone else, and that's how it works. So, I'm sorry. And also, as an independent contractor, he could and should have other jobs. So that's been, so I'm having to deal with somebody's plaintiff pleas, which I am not unsympathetic to, but at the same time, I'm not sympathetic to them. I mean, that's one of the lovely things of being middle-aged and former employer and whatever. I've heard it all. I don't care. So the other thing is I had to go to the eye doctor for, I'm supposed to go every year, but I haven't gone to 3 years. So
that's bad.
I still have 20/20 vision. They didn't find any infections. They didn't find any toxicity. They don't have any holes in my retina. So I'm able to continue on the medication that allows me to walk and things like that without having to change it, which would terrify me because those changes don't always work. Anyway, so they dilate your eyes. And for anyone who hasn't had that done in a while, oh my God, what?
Yeah, no, it's terrible. I had that once, and thank God the last time I went to the eye doctor, they only checked it checked a bunch of things is my retina, everything fine since I've been hit on the head so many times. But I was glad I did not have this one because it's the most uncomfortable things. Anything that has to do with the eyes, it's just no, just get away from me.
And it lasts a day and a quarter. It doesn't stop after an hour. So luckily we prearranged my wife to pick me up. I didn't even think about this. But the funny thing is, if you don't have your own sunglasses, they give you sunglasses, but they're not sunglasses. It's this strip of corrugated, I don't know, tinted plastic, but it's rolled up. It's rolled up in a tight ball. And it's basically like Macho Man Randy Savage, Bret Hart style glasses, except without any plastic rim. So you put them on and they sort of stick to your face because where it unrolls, but they're still roll. It's like stuck to your face. So
okay, one question. One question, Jeff. Is there a picture of that?
No. There's definitely not a picture.
It just killed all the fun.
Well, that's typical. I mean, that's par for the course, right? So anyway, so that I guess is the wrestling tie-in, is that I was walking around thinking in my head that I look like, Bret Hart or Macho Man.
Song with Your hands in front? No, did not.
Sure, of course. And then, my wife was next to me. So, of course, I got my own Miss Elizabeth there. Of course, what everyone else has seen is a fat middle-aged guy with a giant bald spot wearing stupid glasses coming out of a doctor's office from what's basically a complex of medical buildings. It's like Hopkins, like suburb. I guess I'd look like everyone else there.
That's where people go and they look at your wife and they look at you. They go, he must be rich.
Oh, it's even funnier because she is she's an elder care companion. So she was in Scrubs. So not only that, they probably thought that I had a full-time nurse. You probably thought that I had a full-time nurse.
Wonderful. Anyway, hopefully this week is a little bit better for you. Not as weird. I'm on vacation starting today vacation for my everyday job. I work in a prison, people. I have a show tonight where I'm the general manager. I have my own show, Women's Wrestling Syndicate, on Sunday. And what else? That's a good thing. Next Thursday, I'm going to see Bruce Dickinson live. Yes. Woo, man. And then I have a wrestling convention. I'm like, I have way too much wrestling this month. I'm like, why? And yeah, so it's a vacation, not vacation. But anyway, back to LFG. We are, and Shawn Michaels mentions it, we are a week away from the playoffs. And everybody will be watching, including themselves, Shawn Michaels, the coaches, and I don't know, maybe other people. I'm thinking the commentators, whatever, they're all going to be watching who is going to make it to the next round, I would say. And first thing we see is Trill going people don't see the hard work behind being a superstar, which is so true. Being a wrestler is more than just going in the ring, do your thing, and go back home. It's really, it becomes a way of life. The way you eat, the way you train, you travel all the time, you sleep on airports, weird places. I've slept at the Atlanta airport. I've slept in Detroit several times because of snowstorm. I couldn't get home. Wonderful. So I like that he mentions that. And that also, like you said, it's probably because there was one match less this week. We finally got to see them with the teachers, the coaches, discussing, what am I doing with this match? What do you want? And, it was great to see them. Besides maybe Booker T, who's on another planet right now. And just to finish on Trill, he said something that I thought was really cool. He said, I want to shoot beyond the stars. I want to shoot to the galaxy. So I thought that was cool. Anthony says he's built different, and we see him actually celebrating the fact that he got a new house with Maxine. A little bit of what they do outside, like you were mentioning. Xena is tape studying almost every day, and she says it's equally as important as going to the ring training, which I absolutely agree. If you don't have time to go train, watching wrestling and seeing the way they move, the way they transition the moves, if you're a wrestler, it's the greatest thing you could do, especially if you go back the older matches. I remember I was watching a lot of the Texas old school with the Von Erichs. I've watched a lot of that when I was trying to find ideas or just other kind of things that, because if you take from whatever's on TV right now, people will know that you kind of stole the idea because it's so recent. But if you go back and kind of recycled old ideas, it's so great. I don't know if you're not a wrestler, obviously, but do you often do you go back and watch old stuff to kind of
never.
Almost never. Okay.
I mean, when people say, what's your favorite SummerSlam match of 2017 or your favorite WrestleMania? I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound condescending, but I cannot imagine a bigger waste of time for someone who's not studying to be a wrestler or actually in the business than watching reruns of wrestling, which is already reruns of something else that's happened in wrestling. I will occasionally go back and watch Road Warrior squash matches and certain things like that, or like the NWO invasion, like those first couple scenes. But no, it never, like the WWE network, like the library and things. People always say, where's that going to be? I'm like, I couldn't care less.
The Vault is my favorite things right now. When it comes to WWE, like I will forget to watch Raw, but once like I don't know what to watch on TV, I'll go on the Vault, and what they're doing with like superstars watching their old matches. Like the first one I watched was as X-Pac, and I mean it was so great to see them like comment like what they went through that day and what was the mindset of the match. And maybe it's because I'm a wrestler and I like those details, and I like when they explained all the work behind a match, because just like Trill mentioned, like being a wrestler is so much more than just like going out there and doing it.
Absolutely.
But anyway, if we go back to what we saw a little bit, Bailey said like she was different from every female, which I agree.
I want you to leave no doubt in anybody's mind that you are the game changer of this division.
When Taker told me I can change the face of women's wrestling, it took me a while to kind of figure out in what aspects. But the more him and I, have connected and talked, I truly can see that he wants me to bring out this intense monster that honestly I feel like we don't have in the female division. I look different, my moves are different, my presence and my aura that I bring into the ring and out of the ring is just different from every female I've seen.
If I can borrow this from Coach Booker, I want to see her be a monster. I want to see a bona fide, certified killer.
She wants to be a killer, a monster. And Undertaker says to her, you are the game changer of this division, and you got to show it at Summer's expense. So I was like, okay, it's a nicer way to say, kind of not what Booker says to Arlem, like beat the shit out of Shiloh last week. But it was like a nicer way to say like, hey, you got to shine more than she does. And finally, Summer is like discussing with Michelle, and Michelle says like they are overlooking you, and I think we are, and including myself. But I feel we don't see much of her. I feel like she's probably the one who had like, I didn't count like everyone's matches. But yes, she doesn't stand out, and I was like, maybe it's because I didn't see her wrestle enough. I don't know if you feel the same way about Summer Sorrell.
I feel that Summer is in a group of like 5 that are sort of the same. So I guess maybe not exactly. One this week is, the title was Last Chance to Impress. So yeah, I guess we're going into what they call the playoffs, which we already know from last year is a bit of nonsense. We already know from this year is a bit of nonsense, because we already know that Tatyanna has been on house shows. So, I don't think either of us thinks that she's going to win, but we certainly don't know that at this point. I absolutely think that wrestlers should engage in tape watching old stuff. That is studying for your trade and relearning and coming up with ideas. I think that's different for me. And I barely have enough time to do what I need to do in my day. But to be condescending, when Trill said that he's, not aiming for the stars, he's aiming for the galaxy. I like the line is cute, but any stars you can see, dude, are in our galaxy. So, so that's condescending. But I did very much like, the Trill saying, I can be serious and still have fun. Like it's not one or the other for me. I was in the NFL, and, and seeing Anthony and Maxine, that was kind of endearing, but not really. I don't really like them as a couple. He's like, hey, is the fridge full, woman? And she's like, opens up and there's nothing there except champagne. And then I guess that's supposed to be the, ha ha ha, mama, we like champagne and whatever.
Yeah, I'm just glad that we saw something else, from them than just like matches. Because like we've been saying for like the beginning of this freaking podcast, like, we don't know much about them, what they do outside. It's like, okay, now I know he bought a house with his girlfriend, and There's no food at home. So please, there's a little something. But speaking of home,
Deal buying a house with that's a big deal buying a house with someone that you're not married to. Even when you're married, it's a big deal. That's a big deal. I am just wondering, is this going to be new formatting, which I wholeheartedly endorse, or is it just because there wasn't a fourth match and they had time to chill and they're like, hey, let's throw this in there?
well, there's a guy missing. So I'm guessing like there's gonna be a match like missing somewhere. Like I mean, we've seen Trill last week, we see him this week. I don't know how they're gonna deal with that because, like you mentioned, they replace the guy who was hurt last season, and this time they did not replace Elijah. So maybe it's because like fuck BJ, who knows? But anyway, it was really fun to see The Undertaker saying, if I'm losing to my wife, I will never hear the end of it. And when I die and I get to the other side of eternity, I'll still hear about it. Just like, I love seeing this side of Undertaker. Like, I've been a fan since the beginning, and he's the main reason why I started wrestling, because everything starts with him when it comes to, if you can call my career or whatever. And like, he wouldn't talk or whatever. And even the few times I've met him, it was like talking, but very like limited. Now this time, like I see a whole other version of him. Like, and I think he's really like funny. So I love that. So anyway, speaking of Taker and losing to his wife, the first match was Bailey Humphrey against Summer Sorrell. And I don't know if you want to, before I go and talk about the match, do you have anything specific about this match that you notice, or maybe before of what they said, or Undertaker freaking out for losing his wife?
No, I love that too, but I don't think I have anything to add to that. But, you know, they were referring to Bailey as his monster, you know, how Booker T referred to Jasper Troy. And Summer's whole thing is, I'm not scared. I hold myself up to a higher standard. And then when Bailey came out, it's like, time to eat. That by he, I mean Undertaker. And she had new gear. I think she had new music. I like the music. A few people seem to have tailored music, which means you know that they're investing in them. So Bailey coming out with the new gear and the new music, that was great. And the crowd, of course, with the Bailey's gonna kill you chant. My only stuff with the match is that I think Summer was doing a great job of chicken shit healing it up. I thought that was great. She's just not as good as it is Hayes, and she just also looks like such a nice girl. And I watch Evolve, and I'll be reviewing that tonight. It just reminds me, like, I see Carly Bright and I see Summer Sorrell, and I see the same person. But aside from that, no, please go right into the match.
Well, Summer goes out. She's obviously a heel, looking overconfident. She was complaining at the referee and move out of my face. She still needs like to make things bigger, because everything looks small. She doesn't exaggerate anything, and I think it would add so much more to her, because she has the little things, but that's missing. You know, it needs to be like obvious. And as you said, Bailey, great gear. I love the patent leather boots. It adds to her. She did the little Brock Lesnar dance. I think she does it too quick. I would stay there a little longer just to build the anticipation of her going in the ring. But I mean, it's much better than just her going out and doing nothing like she was before. And the whole match was power versus cockiness and having too much confidence. The slap at the beginning was a great way to start. Like, Summer is just showing like, oh, look at me, I can do it. But she chicken shits outside the ring. That was great. And using the timeout, like, and running outside. Timeout in wrestling doesn't exist. So it's always funny when a heel, like, uses it. Because, you can't time out the match. But it's like, no, timeout, I can't take this. And
Timeout.
Yeah, timeout. There's no timeout in wrestling. No.
I'm pretty sure there is. I've seen them.
You've seen them? Well, I'm telling you that every time I tried it, my opponent would come and get me. The referee wouldn't stop the match.
No, I mean, you know, refs are weird.
Well, anyways, back to the match. Like, I really love that every time Bailey was hitting, like, one hit, Summer would take a nice snap and crisp bump. That was great. it shows right away that she's a lot more powerful. That Bailey is, and that Summer is like smaller, but she thinks she's, she has this. She's gonna get through this, but obviously one hit goes down. That was great. I love the fact that she was trying to avoid everything Bailey was doing. She would get out of moves, but she would not pick her up. Everything made sense in that match. The press up this time, the way Bailey picked up Sorrell looked great. It was, she had her there for a while too, so it was great. I love that Summer went behind. And the finish was like a big and safe power bomb. I love that they, I don't know. I remember if it's Undertaker who mentioned this or, no, I think it was the crowd. They were chanting "Big Money Bailey." that was a cool, that's again, a cool shirt. It's a cool moniker. It was good. It was a simple story. It was a good execution. Both looked good. The only thing that I'll say again, Bailey needs to show that she's aggressive. She has the moves down, but she needs to tell her face to show it as well. Scream, having more expression. And I like that at the end, Bailey kind of grabbed her cheek to remind everybody that the freaking slap at the beginning, it bothered her. So I love, this whole match for me was simple, was good, easy to understand. Anything else you want to have in this match?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you to everything. I mean, every counter was met with a power move by Bailey, and I think this match was extremely easy to understand, and I think they each did a good job. Bailey, I think she needs to speed things up a little bit. I think that ties into what you were saying about being more aggressive. But I think she was really worried about not choking out another person. I know that everyone loved her finisher because it looked so good. And it really, really did look good, except I used to call it like the Macarena because it took too many moves to set it up and look too cooperative. So I sort of like that they've moved away from that into a power bomb, maybe until she can figure out an easier way to transition into that move. Yeah. But this was a glorified squash, which tells me that they told Summer, listen, you're not going to win this season, but we'll see you in season 3 of LFG, or we're going to move you to Evolve or whatever it is. And that's fine. But this was a glorified squash. Summer was able to show that she's got some chops and she knows the game, and she does.
Yeah, she's got potential, definitely. She's been there, 5 months, is it?
I don't know about her. I know Hayes has been there 5 months. I know Tatyanna has been there 10 months because we heard that from Hayes. But I think Summer, it's probably similar, but I don't rightly know, to be honest. But yeah, I think that, but I think that's the message we got out of this one. But was anyone expecting Summer to win the competition? No.
No, but she did her job well in this match. And, that's what matters. You need to tell a story, and they did. And everyone looked good. Nobody got hurt. Match was simple to understand. I mean, I can't ask for more. Like, for someone who's been in the ring for such a short amount of time, great job. So the other match
told us the story. He told us the story about the Booker, about the tortoise and the hare, and that Tatyanna is the tortoise, but she's about to show the world that the time is her friend. But I don't know that he really meant it. And then we hear Hayes talking to Bubba, and he expresses concern. She's not sure that Tatyanna's safe, and they remind us that Tatyanna dropped her on her head, episode 1.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'd like that they show that back, because I kind of forgot, and I'm like, ooh, that hip toss. Yeah, that was scary.
Tatyanna, I must say I have my work cut out for me. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it, but I can tell you this. You remember the tortoise and the hare? We may move slowly. We're going to get there in due time.
I have improved so much, and I finally got out of my head that if I fail, it's okay. I think that this is a great opportunity to grab someone I started off Rocky with and create a masterclass from this.
It could be something as simple as that, grabbing someone in the headlock and doing this, grabbing the head. That little bit of stuff for me is everything. Action is movement, not the actual move. All right? Let's get it done.
Yeah, well, and they were kind because they didn't remind us about the other people who complained about Tatyanna, including Xena and a couple others. And the Tatyanna might have knocked herself out, of the competition by not tying her shoelaces.
Yeah, we still don't know what happened with her. They never went back on, like, Booker just said, like, we may move slowly, but we're gonna get there in due time, but nothing else. Like, we still have no clue what happened in that match with Xena. They kind of, I don't know, it's gone with the wind.
We never will until they're both on the main roster and they're in a big program and it comes up, or when there's the dark side of the ring and the untied footgear is a metaphor for Tatyanna's career. Hayes is saying that she's channeled all this wild child energy, and I agree. Tatyanna says that people react to her, that she's a full sports entertainer, and even though she doesn't quite get everything about wrestling, when she does, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? And she has new gear and music.
She says the people have her back, but I was like, I didn't really see that. Maybe she's talking about those shows she does on the side that you follow more than I do. I'm like, maybe that's what she's talking about. But even Bubba says, like, A's after 5 months, she's better. She needs to bring the character even more because it's so good. Like, she's way ahead of Tatyanna. So I don't know. Did you see any matches of Tatyanna or just pictures? Is it true? Like, she has the people behind her and screaming and stuff? Because I don't see that happening at a LFG.
The only time I've ever seen the people react to her was tonight, and I'm pretty sure it was manufactured by the producers. I've never seen anyone really react to her. She did have new gear and music, which, again, probably shows some investment. I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, an Australian accent, isn't exactly rare in wrestling. And I think in some cases, like Bronson Reed, I think suffers from having the Australian accent as opposed to sounding scary, but that's aside. What I loved about this match is that there was a delay in Hayes entering. And I'm like, please attack from behind, please attack from behind. No, they don't do that in Evolve. They probably won't do it here. And she did. She attacked from behind. It was fantastic. And
you know what I was thinking, though? I was thinking she was taking her time because she would come out like crawling because she had a party last night and it was like, I was expecting something like that because how Bubba said, like, bring the character more. I was expecting her to come out like drunk and confused and stuff. That didn't happen, but I was happy as much probably as you that she attacked her from behind. The attack looked vicious. And the only thing is, I don't know if you notice, Tatyanna, her whole body, she was stiff as fuck. Like, Ace tried to bring her in the corner and it seemed like hard. But, Ace, like, the punches, the kicks, everything looked good. And then suddenly Tatyanna hits her with a clothesline behind the head. And even Booker goes like, I don't remember that spot. The whips, again, the Irish whips are bad. And Tatyanna is like, I felt she was sloppy. The punches in the corner, like, they were stiff. They were like right on the fucking head. And I think the coaches like mentioned it too. So it was a good heel finish, and for A's, like, the out of nowhere feet on the rope without the referee was placed like perfectly not to see them. But at this point, honestly, with the girl who's 5 months in carrying the match, I'm so out. With Tatyanna Dumas, I'm like, nope. I'm just no. It's kind of done for me. She wouldn't even be like doing the playoffs.
Feel exactly the same. I mean, and what I saw from Hayes, listen, I may be imagining things, and because it was the Vince McMahon era and he sort of controlled the characters, I sort of feel like this is what Liv Morgan wanted to be when she was in the Riot Squad. She wanted to be like this Hayes Jameson character. I could be wrong. But the point is that I love it. I agree. I mean, I actually wrote down awful punches. So those punches, terrible. They didn't even look good, but I agree with you. Like, certain things look stiff and hard and other things look soft and weak. And it was so weird. I loved how Hayes took down and used the rope for the thieving win. I'm not really sure who was supposed to be the face in this because it seemed like two heels and Hayes was a better heel. I love her her Candid, where she goes, "People are confusing my dopeness for weakness."
Yeah, that was great.
Like,
Tatyanna to me,
so dope.
yeah,
Dope.
Tatyanna to me was the face, because when she came out, she worked the crowd. She was like, "Come on," and using her hand to rally them in. But then, as soon as the bell rang, there was none of that. She same note, everything. So I was like, yeah, thank God Ace is doing something and is having a character and carrying the fucking ass of the vet. That's how she called herself a few weeks ago. So yeah, no, I mean, Ace, yes, let's go, keep going. But at this point, I don't even know why they would keep Tatyanna under contract, but apparently they will. She's got the look, she's got something, attitude, but with the problem she's bringing backstage, and that she's not good. She's not good.
Look, they have dozens of people with the look or a look. I mean, she does have a look, but it's not like her look is so unique. There's nothing so unique about her. I mean, Jin Tala has the same build as her. I mean, there's plenty of women who are more physically impressive, including Ailey Humphrey. They got, Kaylee Armstrong and Layla Diggs, on Evolve, who are, physically like world class, national class athletes, and look like it as well. I mean, it's like I don't know. I mean, yeah, sure, she has a look. She looks like an athletic woman, okay, swell. What else? Aside from that, she seems to have a bad attitude and bad ring discipline. So I don't get it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for this one, I guess. So. Next match, Chris Island versus Trill London. They were in front of the crowd, and Michelle mentioned like that Trill needs to bring an extra little pop to whatever he does. And Booker goes like, "Oh, Trill, he's the flavor of the month." Like, I feel like Booker's like very aggressive. I don't know if because he's a sore loser since he's gonna be at the end of the rankings at this point. And he's like, punches punk ass off. So I was like, I wrote down like, what the fuck? Like, why? I mean, if it's a character for the TV reality show, it's like, it's not good. It doesn't do Booker any favor. He sounds like an asshole. And I was like, fuck, man. Like, Trill's the flip guy. We don't know who he is. And listen, I myself do not like wrestler, like the flippers. Like, if you can't tell a story, I don't give a shit if you do a moonsault, a 450, a fucking 630, jump from, like, if you don't get me in the match like emotionally, I don't give a shit what you do. You're not a good wrestler. But if someone can do that and do the flips and things like at the same time, I'm cool with that. Like, I thought it was like degrading that he called him the flavor of the month and everything, because I feel every time he's in the ring, he gets the crowd going. He works the crowd. He's a great baby face. He's got great fire. And I'm like, I understand he's not his guy, but why would you lower him to just being a flip guy when obviously he has a lot more than that?
I agree with you 100% on everything you said, so there's no need to reiterate it. When Booker was giving Harlem what I think we both agreed was dangerous and bad advice, he's now repeating it with Chris Island, who's another person who I'm not exactly sure where his head is. They're very different people, him and Harlem, although Chris at the end of the show sort of indicates that there's a side of him that, that we don't want to see, but everyone says that. Chris hasn't changed at all. It's like, they have to respect me. One day they're going to see I'm going to destroy everyone. And every week it's the same thing. He comes like, he's okay. He's fine. But it's like, he's sort of bland. And
he's got a lot of potential. Like, this is definitely like, he's got potential. He moves well. I mean, but when he got out for his entrance, I was like, I don't know if you felt the same way, but looking just at his face, I felt he was about to cry or shit his pants. And I wrote down, oh, he lost his smile like Shawn Michaels. But
He never had one. But it's not like he's got a chip on his shoulder. It's like he's got the psychological trauma, like going. I mean, he actually said something about like he had a bad relationship with his father, and that Booker is his father figure that's got his back and cheering for him. I'm sorry, that's weird. It's just weird. Like, he's been his coach for like 2 weeks. It's not like, he's been like his college coach he recruited him when he was a high school junior and he was a redshirt freshman, and he's been with them, for basically in and out of his life for 5 years, mostly in his life. I mean, this is not that. And, Booker's like, apologize later. Like, I get he's trying
yeah,
to
apologize later. That's again, I will repeat what Undertaker said like last week. Having an attitude like that, you'll be future endeavored really quick.
Exactly. And, and then Chris sort of confronts Trill, or we think Chris confronts Trill. Who knows? And who knows if
Does that look like stage for the match, though? Just like they did last week with the ladies, with it was Drake and who else? What's the Anthony Luke? Like, how they had stage that little thing. So I don't really mind. It's like a setup to the match. I'm cool with that. There was a dirty start, and there was good punches. Like I said, there's so much potential for Chris. Like his punches are good. Everything looks
Can I
big.
say a little bit about the pre-match first? Because I really
Go ahead.
I really think that part of that exchange, manufactured enough, told me some things. Trill was, Chris was saying, you play ball, big deal. He's like, yeah, I play ball. This is easier. That's harder. Playing ball is harder. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I absolutely believe that wrestling involves a whole lot of skill sets that are a very rare combination, especially to get on the big stage. But at all. But I'm not going to say that NFL football isn't harder. I mean, there's just fewer NFL players than there are pro wrestlers. That's a fact. But that's not even the point of it. Reasonable minds can differ if they like on that. I thought that Chris was living rent-free, that Trill was living rent-free in Chris's head. Like, Chris is thinking about everything except Chris, and I don't think the Booker really focused him. I think he just like set up a wind-up toy, and like you said, he came out in the karate gi, at least with the black belt, but like the way he was walking, I think he trying to walk like Elijah Holyfield more than himself. I just don't feel like Chris knows Chris, which I think plays out in the ring. He's got skills, but he's basically tepid at everything. Like he's mid at everything. He's like great at nothing.
Well, I wouldn't say that, because there's things that I feel, like I said, his punches, are good. And I actually like what Borash said. At one point he says like he's a work in progress, which I feel it's what it is, but he probably has some of the athletic side down. So, and I feel he can be better and better. But the fact that he doesn't know who he is, and that he thinks about other people instead of what can I do to, have this match good, or like there's kind of needs to be like, it's funny because this week there was like a therapy chant at the Raw, but he needs to look within himself and find what makes him thick. Like he says like he did the martial arts and he comes out like kind of dressed like that, but I don't like, and he did wrestling too. So I was like, but I don't believe he's like in between. You need to be like your character needs to be spot on something precise that everybody can understand, or if they can relate to you, if some of the audience can relate to you in any way, that makes you like special. And like, I feel like he's like in between of everything. He's not there.
I don't feel like there's anything karate about Chris. That's the thing. Like when Ethan Page was doing Karate Man against Ethan Page, he was more karate. Like I think if Chris came out like Steve Blackman, sort of in that MMA thing, that would make more sense. Does it seem it seems like he does more judo, but he does Olympic style wrestling. It's like everything about him is sort of just a little bit off, except for his head, which is a lot off. Like he even has sad eyes. You know, people.
I thought he was going to cry when he came out. Like he didn't look aggressive. And if we go through the match, I mean, like, you know, yeah, the dirty start, good punches in the back. They were in the corner. I mean, they were big. They looked great. And they went to the outside, and that guardrail spot from, you know, Trill, that was like, wow, what the fuck? Even Booker smiled when that happened. The babyface shine once again from Trill. My God, it was so great. And I love how he caught a clothesline and like switched it into like mid-hair into an arm drag. So his flippy shit, actually, he mixes it with wrestling moves. So that's why it works. It's just not a fucking flip to do a fucking flip. He incorporates wrestling into it. So that's why it works. And Chris, like I said, it's very good shots. His whips in the corner were like great. He would pull the guy, bring to the middle, push from the corner. So it looked real. It was not a guy running by himself. It looked like he was throwing his opponent in the corner, and Trill was selling it great, like hitting his back on the corner and then falling. That was great. But Chris, no expression, no sound. And I feel though he got better as the match progressed. The beginning, he was doing nothing, but then he started jaw-jacking, talking to the crowd, arguing with the ref. Like as the match progressed, he was getting better, but it was a little bit too late. But that's why I say, like, there's potential. It's in there. But I feel he needs to clean up a lot of, I don't know if it's anger or sadness or something that makes him look at, Trill, he's this, is that, instead of, I'm Chris Island, what can I do? How can I make this better? And look within and work on it. There was a great babyface comeback. Going back to Chris, when he had Eat on Trill, he slowed down the pace. It looked great. The Swanton falsie with the knees, and then the way he held the tights real good for the 1, 2, 3. I felt they had good chemistry. It was a good match. The end, again, was rushed. I don't know how they plan the end, or they just go home and then 1, 2, 3. I always feel the ends of the matches are rushed. That happened again here. And Chris was like, give me my respect, which could be a line he could use, but why should I give you your respect? Give me more. I need more. I need to know why are you looking for respect? Because you didn't have some growing up. He mentioned things about his father. Why? I don't need to know your whole story. I don't need to know what's very private, but in a way it has to be incorporated in your character. So it's clear that you are mad or sad, or you got to bring emotions out so I can have emotions watching you. So, I mean, I don't know if you agree that the match, overall was good. They had good chemistry, but if there was more character from the heel Chris, it would have been so much more, because the babyface was so out there, doing a great job working the crowd and having that fire that babyface desperately need to have.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it started good when Chris attacked him at the bell with a cheap shot. There was somewhere in the ring he started pulling hair and jaw jacking, like you said. He sort of woke up, but it was too late. And this match, I mean, Chris is fine. It's there. Everything you said is exactly right. But he felt like the Washington Generals against the Harlem Globetrotters, because as soon as, so they did a spot where Chris whipped Trill into the stairs, but instead of going into the stairs, he jumped. Trill leapt on the stairs and then leapt to the barricade, basically doing a Kofi spot. Then he balanced himself on the barricade and walked basically 10 or 12 feet and launched himself, sort of like that comic book character, the Human Bullet. It was like and dived. It was a splash onto Chris, but his legs were bent backwards, his arms were straight. I mean, he almost launched himself like he was tungsten. It was the game was over right there. And then later on, he did basically what amounted to a reverse leapfrog, which I've seen before, but I've never seen someone do a reverse leapfrog and turn it into a rear bulldog at the same time. That was fantastic. And then he did the swanton. Chris got his knees up. He rolled up the tights. So Island got the win. Yay, he wants his respect. But he's been saying, I want my respect forever. And you know what? It works for heel Kurt Angle. It worked for Chad Gable because they're great. They're great at everything. They're hateable. Chris, to me, okay, so Booker has two guys on his team who are visibly frustrated. Harlem looks like, though, he's like a bull or a lion. If you uncage him, he's going to kill someone. And you can use that in wrestling. Chris looks like if left to himself, he would go into a depressive, catatonic state and cry. I don't feel like he's going to kill anyone, despite what he said. Anyway, I feel like we're beating this poor guy to death. He's actually has skills. He's open. He just needs, I think he needs to go to like a regular wrestling school or get private training or whatever it is. But I think he needs his head worked on as much as everything else.
Yeah, probably more because, as you say, like Trill had those amazing moves that were a flip into an actual wrestling move. And for someone to do those moves, you need an opponent that can follow you. And Trill did everything perfectly. Trill looked great because he had a great base in Chris to take all these moves. So he's extremely skilled. And yeah, I just, he needs to work on character himself. And I feel the rest is just going to come because it's there. Like you say, why beat on this poor guy more? And I mean, I don't feel like I'm beating on him because I see a lot of potential in him. I just feel bad because I feel it's more a problem in his head than in his wrestling skills.
I'm probably beating on him a little bit more than is, but I try to keep saying he's good, but I don't feel like I need to defend myself and defend him. It is a competition after all, and he's not winning this competition right now.
Oh no, he's not. But speaking of that, we go to the judges, and Taker chooses Bailey. I mean, she did a great job. Like I said, the only thing she needs to have more intensity, she needs to show she's aggressive, not just in the moves, but in the character itself. Bubba votes
needs
for
to look more. He needs to look more methodical than slow.
Yeah. Bubba says Hayes. Michelle says Hayes. And then Booker T. I'm voting for Tatyanna. She made her look good. I'm like, what the fuck were you watching? I saw the 5-month girl carry her ass. That's what I saw. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I was like, it sounds like I hate the word bitter, but there's something with Booker that makes me right now, despise everything he says. I'm like, I'm sorry, Tatyanna was not the best woman this fucking day. He had voted for Summer. I would say, yeah, better. I mean, I saw stuff in her, but Tatyanna, she was lost. At one point, she did something that you said yourself that was not even planned, that back of the head clothesline. And she's stiff as fuck. She's sloppy. She looks confused. I'm like, dude, whatever. So Ace wins. And I'm like, I'm happy because she's grown a lot in the few episodes we've seen her. She has a character now. She knows what she's doing. She's a great heel. And with that character, she doesn't need to do much to have the match work. And like I said, I feel like she carried that match with Tatyanna today.
I couldn't agree more. I agree that Hayes deserved the point. 3 people you could have made arguments for, one a very minor argument, but the only person you couldn't make an argument for was Tatyanna, in my opinion. And I know I sound biased against her, and I probably am, because I didn't really like her last year either, and I do think that she's sort of stiff and thinks too highly of herself. She wasn't good. Now, I could give Booker a pass if he was just voting for his someone on his team, and they already knew it was no better than 2-1. So it was just a token vote anyway, just to show I got your back, team. But at the end, he seemed, to get even worse. So if it was just that, I would have been, yeah, fine. He's voting for his person, So I did the same thing last week, and Taker voted for his person. But, they were sort of, arguing a little bit throughout the season about being, objective. And we know that no one's totally objective, but yeah, Hayes, absolutely, because it's funny you say she doesn't need to do much with the character, but the character does so much. It just seems to come natural to her, and it's great. So I fully agree. Now Bailey, all the potential in the world, probably more potential to be a long-term superstar. She just needs to get more comfortable, get less worried about hurting people, or maybe get more skilled and get a little faster and in the moves, but more methodical. Like, she probably should have circled or pray a few times outside the ring before going in and doing the Brock stuff. But she's, listen, I'm making things up now, but you have Kiana James being like the business manager for Julia. If they wanted to put Bailey as the bodyguard, the heater, right now they could. Like they do.
Yeah, that would look great. Yeah, Yeah, that's a trio that would look fucking awesome. I like the idea. And just on finish on A's, when I say she doesn't need to do much, it's wrestling wise, because like you said, the character is so out there, so pretty much complete. Like, she could have more stuff, but it's there. You can put her in the ring and it's gonna work, because she gets the crowd to boo, to be mad, to say shit at her. So she keeps the crowd busy. They're always like talking loud. There's no silence because she's always doing something. And she's not one of those heels that wants to be applauded and is looking for approval, except Rollins. And so that works. She's doing like
action with Chelsea Green, Hayes Jameson, Nikki Cross, like Sanity Nikki Cross, and Tatum Paxley. That would be like the four unhinged, like the four unhinged horsewomen. That would be fantastic. I think it'd just be amazing.
The Crazy Crew or something. Yeah,
Crazy Crew. Team Bedlam.
With a K, of course, because it's cooler. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So for the guys, Shaker voted for Trill, Michelle voted for Trill, Bubba voted for Trill, and Booker goes, "It's a bunch of bullshit." So, okay,
that's where he lost me.
Taker goes, okay, so 3 votes for Trill and 1 for bullshit. It's like, and they all say, like, "Chris, we see you." It goes back to, guy has a lot of potential, he's got skill, but he needs more when it comes to character, being something, someone, like, and the selling and the face and everything. But he's extremely skilled. And, well, that was a great day for Booker.
Yeah, Booker had an interesting week. Bubba, I know that you blocked me on X on one account. I know why. It goes back to, the security situation at Ring of Honor. Unblock me, because we agree on so many things. And you really, you see things on this show so much like I see things. But I think all of the judges and you and I are both saying the same thing about Chris. We're just expressing it differently. It's like some light needs to be like a light bulb needs to click above his head, and then he could put it all together. Like, he can definitely be a professional wrestler. He can have a 15-year career after advancing out of, wrestling school and or, single A or whatnot. So, I'm not going to say he's as good as Charlie Haas, but he could have a Charlie Haas-like, kind of career. Maybe Shelton Benjamin, probably not, but, who knows? I don't know. But
well, just before we go on to the teams and how many points they have, I love the names you mentioned. Chris should be watching, Gable, Angle, Benjamin, like Charlie Haas. These are all great names. He should be sitting down and tape study everything they do and get a little bit from them.
Steve Blackman. And
Shamrock. there's a bunch of names.
Those are his guys, even including the strikes. Learn how to strike. If your act is in MMA, learn how to strike, and safely. But yeah, he can do it. Just he's not winning this competition. But Booker voting on a bunch of bullshit after the performance Trill put in and the moves that he executed safely. Forget it. Listen, if this was 10 years ago and they put him on Raw, it would be fine. He'd be a star overnight. They'd sell 50,000 shirts or whatever, in a week. There'd be 3 million views on YouTube, overnight or within an hour. Okay, he'd be the sensation. So, game over. Your guy got beat. Easily, rightfully.
Speaking of getting beat, because that's probably why he's fucking pissed right now. Team McCool has 8 fucking points. Team McCool 8. Taker has 5. Bubba has now 4. And Booker has 3 all the way down. Did you ever think that Team McCool would be so strong?
I didn't think any team would be so far ahead. So it has nothing to do with Team McCool. So no, but I wasn't so into, Michelle as, we've both warmed up to her, and actually she's won us both over the course of the season. She's really an interesting person with an interesting affect. But no, I thought it would be much closer across the board. And just because the talent is so unpredictable and they're all so green and whatnot. Michelle had the first pick, and she picked 2 blue chippers. So yeah, I'm not particularly surprised that she's ahead, but by 3 points halfway through. Yeah,
what I've seen from her though, that thing that stands out from everyone else is how she listens to her students and how she gives tips, but also when they're wrestling, she's doing their moves and kind of the brand and everything. Like you can feel the support she gives them. And I feel like with her, they feel safe. They feel like they can talk to her. And I feel like there's almost no stress in her team. Anthony, like if we go to the points, like Anthony is one of her guys, and 2 points. Shiloh Taker has 2 points. Anthony Luke with Michelle 2 points. Trill has 2 points now, also with Michelle. There's Elijah, who was with Bubba, but he's hurt, so he's gone. And then we go after, it's 1 point, Arlem and Drake. So Arlem for Booker and Drake for Taker. And anything you want to say about the guys before I get to girls?
Yeah, listen, I think that, Michelle has done a great job of coaching, and Trill was green as grass. Sure, he had bad ups, but all these people have skills, so she definitely molded him. And I think her 4th member is Summer, who really has no business, being talked about, but she's been talked about. So yeah, obviously she is a good coach. There's no argument there at all. But I agreed with Hayes, and I certainly agree with Trill. So I couldn't be more. And remember, in the beginning of the season, I wasn't really sold on Trill. I wasn't, but I know what he is now. I know exactly who he is and what he is, and so I don't know what they were all talking about. That like he doesn't, maybe they had to see the same thing repeated a couple times. But anyway, no, I agree with the judges, and I think that Booker was a bit sourpussy this week.
Sourpussy?
Yeah, sourpussy.
I hate that transition because we're going to women now on sourpussy. Well, let's go to the girls. So Penina has 4 points. Serena and Danny have 2. And Zena and Ace have 1 point. So Penina is with Team McCool. Serena's with Booker. Danny Taker. Zena and Ace, 1 point, are with the Team Bubba. So Penina's like way ahead of everybody. Like for sure she's making it to the playoffs. But the rest of the girls, they all have a little something when it comes to girls with points. So Zena, it took me a while to like I don't see what Bubba sees in her yet, but there's definitely something. And her last match was very, very good. And I was like, there's absolutely, something to do with her. She just needs to, again, character is so important. And I feel they're so green, and character comes with time. Because at beginning, like when you wrestle, you think about the moves. You don't want to fuck up. You don't want to, you don't want to hear people say like you fucked up. That's the worst fucking thing. So you're like so focused on the moves that you kind of forget the character. But the match, I mean, it mostly happens in between the moves. What do you do? How you sell them? How do you get to the next, the next part of the match? It's all the little in-betweens that make a match. And, they're not there yet. Some of the guys, I feel they are like, and I mean, the girls, like the girls that were like me on first episode or even last season, but they kind of found their way. I mean, Serena's one of them. Serena became a great heel. She's got great gear. She's got that persona. She needs a little bit more work on the in-betweens and what to do, when she's in a hold and selling. But I mean, the progress of only these two people is a lot. For me, Panina is great. Everything, the moves are great, but she needs a little something more, because I feel she's the face and everything is just bland. The size, she's impressive, but I need more. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you've said. I do see what Bubba sees in Xena, maybe not as enthusiastically as he, but yeah, I mean, these parallels are going to seem ridiculous, but when you have someone who's beautiful but also big and powerhouse, you have a bombshell that's also got guns for arms, basically big muscles, and has a character. I mean, those combinations you usually attribute to The Rock, who's a pretty boy, but also huge and has a character. Roman Reigns, who's a pretty boy, but is huge and developed a character. So, normally you don't have all three of those things together. She's beautiful, but she's also a powerhouse. It's like if Bozilla had, Tiffany Stratton's look.
Yeah, but it's like Rhea Ripley. Even Tiffany Stratton, she's got size. She's got, muscled legs, and she's not like a stick. Like Bianca Belair, beautiful, strong woman. I mean, I like to see that, because the wrestlers, wow, they look like wrestlers. God damn. Like not
That's what they like. That's what I'm saying. Model. This is the combination. This is the rare combination of traits. There's plenty of beautiful women. There's plenty of, Jordan Grace is muscular as hell, but she's 5 foot tall. I mean, this is.
You have something against people who are tall?
Yeah, and she's only 21.
Do you?
So I see it all as well. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be especially interesting on the women's side. I think the men, it's going to be a little bit. I mean, it's definitely going to be close, but I think there's going to be fewer contenders. I don't exactly remember how the playoff system works, so I think they just do eliminations, from the bottom, and then they start doing eliminations from the team. I haven't looked to see how many shows are in the season, but what's the difference? We can look over the course of the week. But yeah, I guess this is 11, so week 12 probably is the last chance to get into the playoffs. And then I would
they say the playoff starts next week. Just before we get to next week, at the end of the show, we see Chris Island, and one thing that he said, there was 3 votes for Trill and 1 for bullshit. I'll never forget that. I have nothing left to lose. And, that kid that's inside, there's a lot of greatness that can come out of it, but a lot of danger as well. And we end on that. Any comments about Chris Moore? I mean, we've been pretty much, I think we said everything. Lots of words, danger, whatever. This kid come out, but we haven't seen him yet. I mean, can we talk about it more? I don't think so.
I was saying, I don't believe him. And if it is as dangerous as he thinks, then it's probably a bad thing, but I just don't believe him. Harlem says it, I believe it. Drake Moreau says it, I believe it. Anthony Luke says, I believe it. Shiloh, definitely. I don't believe it with Chris. I just don't. I think however bad and violent and dangerous he thinks that he was at some point in his life, I don't think he was. I think, at worst he was shoplifted comic books and candy bars, and then he thinks that makes him gang. I don't know, whatever. I don't believe him. I hope he can turn it around wrestling-wise in a positive way. Like I said, I think he can have a perfectly good wrestling career, but he's not winning this competition, not this season anyway.
Well, so next week, that's the playoffs. So I'm not sure how it works. The way they were showing like clips of the upcoming week was like they fight each other within the teams and from the same team, and the coach like picks one of them. That's what I got from the few clips that they showed us, coming next week. But I'm like,
I vaguely remember from last year that coaches had to eliminate someone from their own team, one man and one woman, and then you got it down to 8 people, and then it was more of a, semifinal, final kind of thing. So that's probably what we're going to see. They showed us a lot of pictures that look like a whole lot of chaos with, and they showed us pretty much everybody that's on the cast and the roster in some semblance of doing something chaotic or talking tough or looking emotional. So, whatever. I'm excited. I'm excited to see it, and I don't know that this year's playoffs would work the same as LFG Seasons 1's playoffs anyway. So I don't know that remembering it would give me any advantage anyhow. So I'm looking forward to it. So I think with that, I think you can, sell yourself.
oh, sell myself. Okay. Yeah. Really? Well,
It's to you.
oh, I don't have an OnlyFans.
Me either, surprisingly enough.
You don't have one? Sexy lawyer.
Yeah, apparently that was taken already, so I gave.
Oh, boo. Anyway, hey guys, you can find me on Instagram, LuFisto at artsandwrestling.com/LuFisto. I'm at LuFisto on X. You can send me messages. I try to, answer to everybody. LuFisto at outmail.com. If you have any suggestion, whatever, that's my email. Follow also the Women's Wrestling Syndicate on YouTube. Like all their matches are there. I like old school matches that happened in the back that I was part of the promotions and I own the rights and all good stuff, and older stuff, even older stuff from the 60s, women's wrestling and stuff. Women's Wrestling Syndicate on Facebook, WW Syndicate on X. I was going to say Twitter. It's not Twitter anymore. It's a cesspool, but we got to stay there because there's a lot of people. God damn. And we have a show, Women's Wrestling Syndicate, this Sunday, and I'll be dead by 5 o'clock about in the afternoon when the show's done. I've already had cancellations. The joy of being a booker. Think about it if you want to be, if you want to promote shows. Goddamn, there's a lot of things. Anyway, and you Evolve, I'm guessing, thoughts, Garden of something.
Yeah, tonight probably around 9:30 after Soup goes off the air, when White Chocolate is ready. He's back, so we'll be doing a dose of chocolate tonight, reviewing Evolve. Pretty good episode this week, and it was only 45 minutes long, which is cool as well. Only 3 matches, so probably not too much to talk about, though. I'm sure we'll milk it as we always do, because White Chocolate is partially made of milk chocolate. Yeah, I mean, first I want to thank the fellows at Soup, Anthony and Joey, obviously, for letting us be on their platform and today live on the stage and putting us on the main feed. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. So definitely subscribe to their Patreon. Soup. Yeah, become a Patreon if you can. Subscribe to their YouTube. Join the Discord and hang out with the gang, and you can get some of these live shows. Sometimes it's a surprise like today. Or buy some merch if you can't be a Patreon, or if you can do all of the above, do all of the above. Keep those bills being paid. And plus they have to pay mine and LuFisto's outrageously high salaries, plus 10% goes to our manager and 5% to our entertainment lawyers. So, keep that in mind. A lot of the shows, Garden of Thought, they're all on the Wrestling Soup Network. If for whatever reason you don't want to listen to them on the Wrestling Soup Network, just go to Garden of Thought, subscribe. Any podcast provider has them. I don't think that there's anywhere that they are not. And there's sort of 3 faces of the show, but a lot of variety. And sometimes it's extremely academic and intellectual, and other times it's me and the Bayou Geeks just shooting the shit and just all over the place. Yesterday, I spoke to an attorney I believe right now she's in Zimbabwe, and she's doing African space policy, and we talked about the African interest in space policy and space regulation. And I've got a show in the pipe that will be on Soup with me and my guest co-host, because Thomas is still on vacation, Akira Kwan, the defending middleweight champion MLW, who'll defeat Templario this week at Fightland. By the way, there's after LuFisto's show, you can go to YouTube at 10 o'clock on Saturday night and see Fightland for free and see my man, Mr. Thomas, defeat some guy named Kojima. I don't know. Apparently he likes gluten bread or something. I'm not sure. But check that out. And we interviewed Joseph J. Alexander, who's a promoter, and basically I felt like I was talking to the Sinister Minister, or at least how I envisioned the Sinister Minister conversation would be. So a lot of stuff. Check that stuff out. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Otherwise, you can follow me on the X, dose_evil, or it's at dose_evil. That's enough. I mean, I think it's just time to cook these frogs.
Cook the potatoes. Boiled them, fried them, put them in stew. Was presented by the Wrestling Stew. No, the Wrestling Stew. We are the Wrestling Stew. So we'll see you next week for LFG Season 2, Episode 12, The Playoff. And until then, be safe, my friend. Have fun. Drink responsibly. Or if you don't, stay home. Do it at home. Fall asleep on your couch. And make sure there's a little basket next to you in case something happens. The weekend's coming, so